History often presents science as a straight path. A question is asked. An experiment is conducted. A discovery is made. But when we look closer, something else appears. Coincidence. Again and again, some of the most important breakthroughs in science seem to arrive at the exact same moment, in different places, in different minds, sometimes without any direct communication. It is almost as if ideas are waiting to be discovered. One of the most famous examples is calculus. In the late 17th century, two brilliant minds, Isaac Newton in England and Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz in Germany, independently developed the mathematical framework we now call calculus. Both were working on problems involving motion, change, and curves. Both arrived at remarkably similar conclusions. But they did so separately. When news spread, it sparked one of the greatest intellectual disputes in history. Each accused the other of plagiarism. National pride fueled the conflict. Supporters took sides. Yet modern historians agree, both men developed calculus independently. How is that possible? Because the scientific world had reached a tipping point. Astronomy, physics, and geometry had advanced to a level where a new mathematical language was necessary. The problems demanded it. Calculus did not appear because of coincidence alone. It appeared because the time was ready. The same pattern occurred with the theory of evolution. Charles Darwin is often credited as its architect. But while Darwin was refining his ideas in private, another naturalist, Alfred Russel Wallace, was traveling through Southeast Asia and independently arriving at nearly identical conclusions about natural selection. In 1858, Wallace sent Darwin a manuscript outlining his theory. Darwin was stunned. The ideas were so similar that it felt as if someone had read his unpublished notes. Instead of a bitter rivalry, something remarkable happened. The two men presented their findings jointly. Evolution was not born from a single mind. It emerged from parallel thought. There are many such moments. The law of conservation of energy, the principle that energy cannot be created or destroyed, was formulated independently by multiple scientists in the 19th century. The same happened with the discovery of oxygen. Several researchers observed the same gas at nearly the same time, each interpreting it differently. Sometimes coincidence is not about rivalry. It is about inevitability. When knowledge accumulates to a certain density, breakthroughs become unavoidable. Yet some coincidences feel stranger. In 1928, Alexander Fleming returned from vacation to find that one of his petri dishes had been contaminated with mold. Around the mold, bacteria had been killed. The discovery of penicillin began with an accident. But here is the coincidence. Similar antibacterial effects of molds had been observed before and ignored. The difference was timing. By the late 1920s, microbiology had matured enough to recognize the significance. An accident became a revolution. Then there is the story of Neptune. In the mid-19th century, astronomers noticed that Uranus was not moving exactly as predicted. Something unseen was influencing its orbit. Two mathematicians, John Couch Adams in England and Urbain Le Verrier in France, independently calculated where an unknown planet should be located. Their calculations pointed to nearly the same region of the sky. When astronomers looked, Neptune was there. Two minds, working separately, predicting the same invisible world. It was as if mathematics had revealed something before telescopes confirmed it. There are also coincidences of timing that defy easy explanation. Albert Einstein developed the theory of relativity in the early 20th century. But around the same time, other physicists were approaching similar conceptual territory. Henri Poincaré had explored related mathematical structures. Hendrik Lorentz had developed transformation equations that would later be embedded in relativity. Einstein made the conceptual leap. But the intellectual environment was saturated with clues. Was it coincidence that relativity emerged when it did? Or was the scientific landscape prepared? Sometimes coincidences are darker. In 1912, the physicist Frederick Soddy proposed that isotopes, atoms of the same element with different masses, existed. At nearly the same time, other researchers were uncovering similar evidence in radioactive decay. The understanding of atomic structure seemed to crystallize globally. Then there are coincidences of survival. During World War II, several key physicists involved in nuclear research fled Europe just before the full scale of the conflict erupted. Their relocation to the United States significantly shaped the development of atomic science. History could have unfolded differently. The trajectory of scientific discovery sometimes hinges on timing measured in weeks. There are also cases where simultaneous invention appears almost inevitable. The telephone was patented by Alexander Graham Bell in 1876. On the very same day, another inventor, Elisha Gray, filed paperwork describing a remarkably similar device. Hours apart, the race to patent an idea changed legal history. The airplane followed a similar pattern. The Wright brothers achieved powered flight in 1903, but inventors across Europe and America were working on controlled flight at the same time. The technology was converging. When internal combustion engines became reliable enough, the dream of flight accelerated worldwide. In mathematics, strange coincidences appear in abstraction. Non-Euclidean geometry, the idea that parallel lines may behave differently in curved space, was developed independently by multiple mathematicians in the 19th century. For centuries, Euclid's geometry had been accepted as absolute. Then, within decades, the alternative appeared, in different countries, from different thinkers. Centuries of silence. Then sudden convergence. Some call this phenomenon multiple discovery. It suggests that ideas do not belong entirely to individuals. They emerge from networks of knowledge, from accumulated questions. Science is not only driven by genius, it is driven by readiness. But there are coincidences that feel almost poetic. In 1964, two radio astronomers, Arno Penzias and Robert Wilson, were attempting to eliminate background noise in a microwave antenna. No matter what they did, a faint hiss remained. They cleaned equipment. They removed pigeon droppings from the antenna. Still the noise persisted. What they were hearing was the afterglow of the Big Bang, the cosmic microwave background radiation. At the same time, other physicists were developing theoretical models predicting that such radiation should exist. The observers and the theorists were unknowingly circling the same truth. The hiss was not interference. It was the universe itself. Even in modern times, coincidence shapes progress. The structure of DNA was revealed by James Watson and Francis Crick in 1953. But their model relied heavily on X-ray diffraction data produced by Rosalind Franklin. Meanwhile, Linus Pauling was racing to solve the structure independently in the United States. The double helix emerged from competition, collaboration, and proximity. Was it luck? Or was biology ripe for decoding? Sometimes coincidences remind us that science is human. Human beings share problems. They share curiosity. They build upon the same foundations. When multiple minds approach the same frontier, breakthroughs cluster. But coincidence also raises uncomfortable questions. If discoveries are inevitable, does that diminish individual genius? If someone had not developed calculus, would someone else have done so weeks later? Would evolution have been recognized eventually without Darwin? Would relativity have emerged from someone else's equations? Perhaps. Or perhaps small differences in timing matter more than we realize. The strange coincidences of science suggest something profound. Ideas are not isolated sparks. They are waves. They build slowly beneath the surface of culture, education, and technology. When the conditions are right, they break, sometimes in multiple places at once. Coincidence, then, may not be mysterious. It may be structural. When enough data accumulates, when enough minds engage, when enough tools exist, discovery becomes a shared horizon. And yet, there remains something humbling about it. Science feels deliberate. But history reveals moments of accident, convergence, and simultaneity that blur the line between intention and inevitability. Perhaps the most remarkable coincidence is this. Across centuries and continents, Humans keep asking the same questions. What is the universe made of? How does life evolve? What laws govern motion? Where did we come from? And when the time is right, the answers appear, sometimes in more than one place at once. Not because the universe is conspiring, but because curiosity is universal.